Adding the prefix para to paranormal is in itself a product of a lack of awareness. Paranormal activity is the normal function of energy within a space that interacts across multiple dimensions. When we look at our program from a greater perspective rather than a limited one, paranormal is entirely normal. And so I am going to approach the paranormal from the higher point of awareness before we explore the lower impact on consciousness. I remember so many times in the 1990s and beyond when we would be requested to attend meetings. Elonias or another energy would indicate they wanted to speak. We never knew what they wanted to say. It was always profound, joyous and, quite simply, amazing. Being spoken to, however, required more than just sitting and listening. That would be far too easy. When an intelligence talks, from beyond your perception of life itself, you have to be prepared to let go of every illusion you hold on to about yourself. You have to be totally honest and as aware as you can be. Listening inwardly, challenging your deepest fears and reaching for the most beautiful memories. To remember one is more than who one believes oneself to be requires courage and humility. Not everyone wants to let go of their personal attachments in order to view their world differently. To be free, you must be prepared to look at yourself totally and honestly. It does not mean you have to change everything, but you do have to change how you see you in order to be a part of something greater. A block of marble cannot remain a block of stone if it wants to become a beautiful statue. So much has to be carefully carved away to reveal the beauty and potential that lay beneath. So many times we laughed awkwardly as we tried to understand the true depth and vast meanings conveyed by Elonias and the others. But no matter what happened, with the greatest of love, they continued to talk so very patiently, and always without fail we would find in the weeks, months and years to follow all that was spoken of found its place. Elonias speaks with a masterful way of covering more than you can imagine and everything you couldn't. At the end of each session was always the same farewell message, and Elonias would depart and say, "I leave you with what I have most of, and that is truly love." Beyond the complexities, beyond the information, love was and is the only thing that truly exists. More than love as we know it, it is a greater love beyond singularity, for time is irrelevant and love is eternal. If you feel love in your life, without conditions or compromise, it is an aspect of a greater love, and that is what Elonias and other energies demonstrated so often when they returned and spoke of so many things. It is this love and the revelations of awareness that unfolded with every conversation that change our perception of all things. Not intellect, not knowledge alone. When you listen or read the words of Elonias, it is not just about the words or the subject. It is equally about the energy he speaks with. When you listened inwardly and heard his energy, you would never walk out of the door the same person. And this is why I will keep repeating his message to you here, because it matters. For Diane and I, it was the deep inner awareness of that love and the recognition of something so much greater that drove us on in our everyday lives to instigate everything, to never stop, to search the corners of our minds and this world for that which would allow us to complement the greater awareness with evidence and research, and to find others who may also be looking, to do our part, not just to sit back and wait for the next session, because one thing is for sure in this life: no one has tomorrow. Take nothing for granted, I tell you, and never assume anything. At this point, I would like to say, it is not easy at times to live a duality of awareness in this world, where finding a balance between inner and outer challenge many aspects of being human. But I assure you, it is the most important journey you will ever take, and the most important research you can ever do. When I first met Diane, she was also highly sought after by those seeking messages from the afterlife. Very often, Diane would lecture at the spiritualist churches, where many asked for help to understand a ghostly or paranormal experience. That was until even the spiritualist churches did not want to expand their understanding, and Diane moved forward once again. That was many years ago, clearing homes of unwanted energy, communicating messages from the afterlife and from the real, helping people sleep better at night, and helping so many understand what was happening to them in their life. This space holds so many variations of life, however illusionary. We have worked tirelessly throughout the years to understand, remove, or communicate with human and non-human energies alike. Past and present lives have also been a source of our investigation. To understand the journey of one's consciousness through the memory of many lives one inhabits within this program has brought healing, understanding, comfort and balance to so many over the years. To this day, past lives and paranormal investigation remains a highly active area of my work. This space is dimensional, and the closest of these dimensions are the etheric worlds. The worlds of life between life are realms of passage to the next experience. Thought worlds reveal one's limitations or one's expansive nature of thought, and one's own life and past journeys can be understood by the experiences they encounter. Ultimately, the etheric worlds offer reflections of truth for the individual and collective soul, to reconcile experiences towards a greater understanding. That is why some remain in the thought worlds for lengthy periods between lives, and others move through quickly to the next experience. But all is energy, and nothing is ever allowed to stand still forever. Energy always returns to a greater part of itself, a greater energy, and a greater energy beyond that. Life is an outward motion of energy. Light is an inward inversion of energy. Life is within a spiral experience originating from light and moving back to itself. This universe is composed of a structure of energy that constantly interchanges on 7 light patterns. The etheric worlds beyond life are non-physical thought worlds. In our work through the thought worlds, we have at times encountered individuals who believed they were in heaven, an all too common creative thought pattern indoctrinated in life and carried over into the afterlife. Heaven in the etheric realms is an illusion within an illusion, and everyone has a different version. The light one sees when they pass over is the light of their higher being, a source of total love, and the return from the point of creation of who one is into what one already was. I am here to tell you with the greatest of love, there is a place beyond illusion that is real. There is a love that is real where all is one again, beyond the image of the limitation of God and whether one qualifies based on rules and faith. When all is one, there is no lesser or greater, no separation at all. And so at all times in our investigations of the paranormal, we set out to investigate the things least understood, energy and mysteries ultimately linked into unexplained experiences, ones that could provide more answers to the nature of our reality and what lay hidden from sight. Beyond the paranormal phenomenon Hollywood or TV shows dramatize for ratings. As I say, the paranormal is to be treated with openness and excitement, but it is serious. It contains answers about things many dismiss out of fear or ignorance. The things many are told do not exist are usually told so by people who have never looked. The paranormal and the unexplained fill the pages of so many books with so many mysteries and experiences that happen regardless of what a limited mind believes or doesn't believe. And so we researched and investigated all things paranormal. We broke down illusions and belief systems to see what lay beneath and beyond. The ignorant would consider what we know to be imagination or science fiction, but for those who have had experiences with the paranormal or encounters through the night, paranormal phenomenon is real. I can tell you, when you experience a crack in reality or a time glitch, you know it. No matter how much some people try, you cannot forget. You know when you have seen something ghostly or unusual. You know when you have experienced something out of the ordinary. You have to trust your senses and not your conditioning. It is so easy for someone who did not experience what you did to say it didn't happen. And to be frank, conventional wisdom and orthodox beliefs offer no credible explanations at all. For those who have experienced lucid dreams or had an afterlife encounter, it can really shake up one's reality. After 40 years of facing the darkest to the lightest entities and energies, I can tell you there is nothing to be afraid of. Not ever. The more you are in touch with the power of your own energy and your mind, the more you are not constrained by the perceptions or limitations of this holographic reality. The more we placed our disciplined and trained awareness into an inquiry of light and truth without fear, the more we experienced and the more profound and exciting investigations became. For those who are serious about understanding the truth and not just a version of it, answers are within the understanding that the physical does not exist. Only energy does. One very special experience occurred around 10 years later when Diane and I were sitting and reviewing our research notes. An energy of such beauty entered the room where we sat. It is impossible to describe, but I will try. If you close your eyes and imagine the person you love standing right beside you, then imagine there is no physical touch, but still the feeling. That is what it is like. And as greater energies often do, they appear when you least expect it. The energy did not speak, it seemed to be listening to our level of understanding. Diane started to speak, and as she did, the energy gently moved closer. Diane shared with me how she could feel the energy softly touching her mind. She continued to talk, and as I watched, my wife's eyes changed from her normal, regular hazelnut brown to the deepest, deepest blue. I was transfixed, speechless. The energy was powerful and loving, determined. I listened, but once again to this day I cannot remember what was said. I remember feeling humbled in its presence, the energy gave me a powerful sense of complete and total love, and yet a sense of powerful determination beyond my comprehension at the time. It lasted a few minutes only, and as I watched in speechless awe, Diane's eyes began to return to their normal colour, and the energy departed. Diane was left with a feeling of a timeless presence and a sense of purpose beyond words, to locate and contact so many who were still lost here. That is the nature of communication at times from a higher source. Sometimes it speaks to you more on another level, and you don't always remember what is said. But to this day, I can still see the eyes of that energy being through Diane's. The profound experience that changed Diane's eyes to the deepest blue once again illustrated the power of how illusion can be changed by what is real. An experience showing the illusion of physical reality also occurred in the year 2000, when my physical height increased by a full 3 inches. That's a little over 7 centimetres. I am 5'9", and you just don't expect that to change, do you? Not ever. But it did. In full view of an entire group of people, and verified by measurements before, during, and after. My physical height changed, and Diane's eyes actually changed colour before my very eyes. And there are so many other experiences that show this reality to be an illusion. And so without boundaries or belief, we found answers, and answers found us. We kept searching, remembering, experiencing, listening, communicating. Not just because we had the right questions and a deeper awareness, but because we never stopped investigating. Belief systems have no place in a paranormal investigation, where trickery and deceit fool all but the most aware investigators. The paranormal is not a novelty, and never a hobby. You have to know what you are doing. There is nothing more serious about the perception of reality than when you know you are living within an illusion. So let's take a look. The paranormal is, by definition, beyond the realm of normality. How can one expect to research and understand the paranormal with normal tools and a conventional approach? No amount of running around with laser detectors, infrared cameras, thermal imaging devices and voice boxes on their own, especially when dramatized with fear, can ever lead or be expected to lead to an understanding of the paranormal. In our investigations, we have often used cameras, infrared lighting and voice recorders, but always secondary to the power of our own mind. Devices may show a reading, but only a tuned and disciplined intuitive mind can tell you what an energy has to say, or if the energy in the vicinity is deceiving you, which is very, very common. Just as there are undesirable people on this physical level, there are undesirable energies beyond it. Interdimensional entities and tricksters will routinely show up as animals, children, or popular images such as angels and loving aliens. Only clear and concise skills in energy can cut through the images and deceit to reveal the difference. If you do not know your mind, and if you do not know yourself, you are open to be easily deceived. The only way to investigate, research, and understand the paranormal is to use extrasensory perception. There is no other way. All man-made devices have limitations. The mind does not. Energy does not. By investigating the paranormal, you are dealing with an extrasensory phenomenon, and you need to use extrasensory perception. Diane was a powerful psychic her whole life, highly skilled in energy detection and interpretation. During the 1990s, I trained under my future wife to strengthen my own intuitive and paranormal sensory abilities, to learn about the deepest layers of energy within the program. Training and awareness is a very important part of the Elonias foundation of awareness, to know oneself and to understand energy. One must learn the importance of psychic clarity and strength of mind. Many will not like what I am about to say, but only a researcher with a highly intuitive mind, who is well versed and trained in energy systems and the human energy field, is qualified to research the paranormal. Energy contamination is a constant problem for amateurs or the foolhardy. Paranormal tours are grossly irresponsible when there are no energy practitioners on hand, and healers routinely contaminate unsuspecting clients. Good intentions are one thing, but the impact on someone's energy field is something else entirely. So many get lost in ego, fantasy, mind games or ratings. Energy is not a game. Over many years, Diane and I experienced and communicated with many people in spirit, some between lives, and some existing in the thought worlds that sit alongside this life plane. We have also communicated extensively with other life forms and interdimensional beings. We have been cautious with some and could talk openly and peacefully to others. There is nothing ever to fear when you know what you are. The energy of remembering will always guide you, but you have to understand the nature of time and space from a dimensional and non-linear perspective, or again, you can be fooled. Our experiences led us down the greatest rabbit hole of interdimensional space we could have ever imagined, with some amazing experiences. One experience given to us by Elonias in the mid-90s once again left us shaking our heads in wonder. Before we sat for a group discussion, Diane was told there would be something special put on one of the tapes that night. Remembering, in the early to mid-90s, there was not yet digital recording available. Elonias had said it would be to show how easily energy and information within the program can be created and removed. We had no idea what to expect. Several hours later, Elonias had spoken at length about the nature of reality and the inner mind. At the end, as the evening came to a close, Diane checked her tape to ensure it had recorded. To her complete amazement, her own voice started to play, but her voice was speaking German. Unmistakably German. Everyone was stunned. Not only could Diane not speak German, but it was standard practice within the group to always use brand new tapes, and the wrapper had only been freshly peeled off not hours before. We all sat and listened to the tape until several minutes into the recording, Diane's voice switched back to English. She immediately rewound the tape so we could all listen to it again, but the German language in Diane's voice was gone, leaving Diane's regular voice again, as if the recording had never existed. It was then Diane remembered what Elonias had said. Something would be put on a tape to show how easily energy and information within the program could be created and removed. It never happened again, as much as we wanted it to. The point had been made. Over the years, our research has taken us to many, many houses and places. Some were our own homes where energy portals had formed, others were established haunted locations, and many more were everyday residential homes where people who contacted us were having experiences they were not sure of. In most houses, we found orbs, and I want to comment on this because orbs have long been a point of contention between researchers and debunkers who know nothing. Orbs can be several things, but almost without exception, one thing they are not is dust or lightning tricks on the lens. As you will see, we have had hundreds of experiences with orbs. And to a highly tuned psychic mind, there is always a story and always a reason. Over the years, we have taken video footage of thousands of orbs, some stationary and some moving across the room horizontally at high speed, disappearing through walls, coming down through the ceilings and up through the floors. To say any of these are created by particulates in the air or dust particles carried by a phantom breeze in a closed room is naivety or a cover-up. Orbs present themselves in the majority of places just out of phase with the frequency of our vision. In our extensive investigation sessions, we have had orbs respond to our energy fields and follow our requests to move and shift location over and over. That's pretty intelligent for a dust particle or a lens reflection. And those who call them as such have no experience in the matter. So what are orbs? Orbs are the interface between a dimensional entity, a loved one who has passed, or another spirit world person, or connected to another dimensional energy interested in the location or people present. The stronger your psychic energy is, the more active orbs are likely to be. Space is a very busy place, and you can never assume orbs are there for you alone. I won't go into great depth here, as the paranormal is only one section of the entirety of this dimensional program, but it should be understood that awareness of our own energy system is required for paranormal research. If you are not aware, orbs can affect your health of energy and your state of mind. If you see an orb, you are not alone. And just as there are orbs in most places, there are also portals. Orbs, given their nature, move around constantly. Portals are stationary and open and close depending on the controlling energy requirements, meridians, grid-line intersection vortexes, psychic potential, and the charge of energy contained within memory. They open and close but do not move like orbs. This program is full of portals. They are dimensional doorways. As you can see from this photo, from when I was in France in 2012, visiting the Louvre Museum as part of an investigation project. Given portals are fixed apertures in points in space-time, when they are open, they can be easily detected if you know what you are looking for. As I passed through the Egypt exhibit in the Louvre Museum, I walked directly through it. The energy within the museum, being Egypt, was quite strong. As I walked, I was intuitively scanning the vicinity. We have to understand this is how energy works when one associates memory, energy, and thought. As soon as I detected a shift, I spun around and took this photo. As I inferred, portals can appear in response to a highly viable energy source and can manifest at vortexes with highly charged emotional and psychic energy. I suspect this portal, given the Louvre Museum's meridian location, combined with the Egypt artifacts and my own psychic energy, opened this entry point. As you can see, portals are very real. And so our research took us from the afterlife and paranormal activity through to the area of unexplained contact and UFOs. From 1995 through to 1998, we led a Melbourne-based UFO investigation group after a spate of sightings was seen over the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. Our pursuits led to being able to speak with many who witnessed the UFOs, and given the regularity of sightings over a small period of time, we also witnessed the orange lights moving silently through the sky. Our research here was into the inner dimensions of the program and led to a far greater understanding of the nature of so many UFO experiences as being from dimensions of the Earth program as well as layers of interdimensional space. During the mid-2000s, after our research and the communication from Elonias had guided us on so many pathways of discovery, and our experiences began to expand to future dimensions of reality, Diane developed a technique we call mind travel, to further align the mind with what is real. Mind travel is the ability to travel inwardly with your mind into the past and future, and to view alternate timelines. For those who have heard of remote viewing, mind travel is not the same. Remote viewing is a military technique used worldwide to gather intelligence. Remote viewing relies on existing coordinates within the program and is inherently limited to the data within the program, like a map that only has what is known recorded as reference points, but nothing more. Mind travel is very different and is connected to the real. It is open to anyone with an intent based on love and a signature of sound that is able to link to what they are beyond the illusion of this world. Our experiences with mind travel have taken us through time with our minds, viewing past and future events. But most importantly, mind travel is designed to align you with the new program, and there will be more on that shortly. Next, we will move back to the cosmic scale of our universe, based on the block universe concept, and the awareness of how time loops do indeed exist. Let's proceed to take a closer look at where quantum theories and philosophy meet within the awareness that all reality is a program of thought and memory.